What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for taking the time to be here. I appreciate it. So, as you can see, the elephant in the room, I have no hair. All right, let's move on. So, in the last episode, you saw we were test fitting wheels, and in the last week, I've got some tires mounted up on them and got some more work done in fitting those up. We've figured some stuff out. We've ran into a couple of issues that I think we can figure out though. So if you follow me on Instagram, you've already seen the wheels, but if not, I'll throw in a little B-roll here and you can see how they look. I think they look mint. Stay tuned. Alright, so this is something I'm not sure if I've done a whole lot of, is basically having the whole car out in the open with the wheels on it so you can get an idea of how kind of everything looks together. It's a little hard to visualize sometimes, at least for me. You know, what's in the garage, you can only see parts at a time. So I'm really happy with the overall look. The wheels in the back fit really well, which I'm happy with. So the wheels are from US Wheels. They are 20x8s. They're 69 series rat rod wheels. 20x8 in just bare metal with 3 3/4 inches of back spacing. The tires are Toro AZ 850s in a 235/40/20. So it's a little bit taller than what the stock Crown Vic wheels are. So in the back, it's going to fit fine there. I'm happy with it. We can obviously just, seeing as how we haven't attached the fender yet, we can move that around a little bit. That's going to work great. In the front, here I just have one of the stock Crown Vic center caps, which something I will mention if any of you guys happen to be doing like F100 or any type of Crown Vic swaps. With Steelies like this, the stock Crown Vic center caps just pop onto the lug nuts, and you can use that if you want. I'm not doing that. And the center caps in the back, if you're wondering about those, they are center caps off a 60s Plymouth. I've got 2 of them now, and I've got 2 more on the way. So I'm happy with how those look. The centers that come in black, I'll probably take that this down to chrome, and I think I might just clear coat the wheels the way they are, because I think they look cool in just the bare metal. So in the front, I have the fender just very haphazardly kind of mocked up. However, unfortunately, with these wheels, just don't clear in the front. When you go to turning, especially with the flat top of the fender, as soon as you go to turning, it hits the fender. So what I'm thinking is getting a wheel with, it's a little bit different style of wheel, but with a little more back spacing and going a little bit smaller tire as well. Hopefully that'll be enough. Something else I'll quickly mention, sorry there's a lot of talking here, but I'd also shown in the last video where I had my studs, sorry it's dark in here, let me turn my light on. I had my studs and the coupling nuts that go in there and connect. Unfortunately, that idea is not going to work, I don't think. The reason being, seeing as how the door has to open on the inside of the fender, the front lip of the door hit those studs. So I'm working on a different solution for that now. So another thing to figure out. Yeah, give you a little walk around here. Gives you guys an idea. Yep, it's going to be wide. All right, so what I'm going to be doing in this episode, though, mainly is working on the battery relocation. And the reason for that is I've just been having to use a jump box to run this thing. And so originally the battery tray was right in here. The problem is when the fender is on, it completely covers up the battery where I couldn't access it at all. And so I figured that's going to be a pain. So I am going to be relocating it to the trunk. And the current plan is to use this old vintage cooler. It's not a Coke one, it's a pleasure chest. Take that for whatever you want there, but anyway, plan is to use this for a battery box. So, got this little removable tray, and the stock battery actually fits in there pretty well. So, I think we'll have to drill some holes to run the cables out. So we'll have to mount the box itself down to the floor. And I've got some parts, so I'm going to lay those out and show you what I've got. Alright, so I got the GoPro strapped on here. Hopefully we can see. So, I got all this stuff off of Amazon. This is a battery cutoff switch that will mount back there. We got 25 feet of 1/0 battery cable. And also 25 feet of 1/0 ground wire. We're not going to need nearly all of that, but I was able to buy like this for pretty cheaply, so that's what I got. I've got both a negative terminal post and a positive one. These will get mounted up where the factory battery was mounted, and then the battery cables will run to those. And then we've got some, we already had these, but we've got some ends here, and I'll probably have to get some more ends. I'm not sure. Kind of figuring out this as I go. I have not done a relocation before, so bear with me on this. All right, I'm going to start by moving this thing a little bit. That way I can actually have some room to work. Whew, like it's stuck. So quiet. All right, we'll let it idle down, and then we'll move it back a little bit. All right, we're gonna start by drilling some holes. And here's your tech tip of the day. If you guys are needing drill bits, I know how frustrating it is to have dull drill bits. So, get these, Vortex Point. I know there's some different brands. I don't remember where we got these, but they come in a whole box like this. They're all marked what size, and they have their place for them, and they have these tapered bits, so it's kind of like a stepped drill bit and then a regular one, and they work really, really well and hold their edge. So if you're needing bits, I highly recommend these. So let's get a couple of holes drilled. I don't know what size we'll need, so we'll kind of guess. Sure, this looks like a good size. All right, so mark some locations here. All right, make sure the handle still closes here. We're fine. All right. So it's able to drill through here. Now we can easily see where the holes are. All right. All right, so I am going to mount this thing using Riv Nuts. If you guys are not familiar with Riv Nuts, basically what it is, instead of using a, in this case, instead of using, let's say, a bolt down through the top, through the battery box, to the floor, then having to try to work from the bottom and put a nut on it, you use these little nut inserts. So basically this is the nut. And how this works, you have this tool here that's threaded at this end, and they make this with a bunch of different sizes. So you do take the nutsert, and you have to drill a specific size hole, and the chart here will tells you what size hole and what size drill bit to use for that. So basically, once you have your hole drilled, simply screw on the insert like that, and then I'll just show you on the car here. This isn't the size I'm using, but basically, and I didn't make the hole big enough. You'll stick this down through the hole, and then just, I don't want to do this because it's gonna ruin the thing, but squeeze the handles together, and what it does is simply flares this part out. It's like a serrated part here, flares it out, and it holds really tightly in like that, and then you can just thread your bolt down from the top and it'll hold it tight. So that's what we're going to use to mount these. Alright, so I kind of got this thing temporarily bolted into place. I'll get some proper 5/16 bolts and we'll get it bolted down permanently. So now what I'm going to work on for my battery cutoff switch, I think I'm going to put it somewhere right in there, and then it's going to be kind of flush mounted as a plan. That way, just like from here out is the only thing that sticks out. But yeah, that's why I got the red, so kind of matches there. So we're going to go ahead and get it the hole marked out where we want to drill it. Alright, so I got my hole marked out here. It's going to take a 2 5/16 hole, which I don't have a hole saw quite that big. I have a 2-inch hole saw, so we'll start with that and then probably take the Dremel and open it up from there. Alright, so I got the hole drilled here and also 4 little mounting holes. So how this is going to work is it is going to fit through just like that, and then it'll get 4 screws, sorry, that go from the front all the way through the back, and then have nuts on the back here. And I don't have any screws that small, so I'll have to run to the hardware and get some. So we shall see you tomorrow. And we are back. So we've got our 4 little screws and some lock nuts here. So the cover comes off the back like that. Actually, we can stick this on. Back like that.
Screwdriver.
Nice. So then off and on. Nice and sturdy. That ain't going nowhere. Alright, I have been plugging away on some of the boring bits of this over the last couple nights, so let me show you where I'm at. So we have, oh sorry it's kind of dark, let me turn the light on here. Sorry if it's kind of hard to see, it's kind of bright out. We made a couple of cables that run up to the cutoff here. So we made one short cable that runs here, and that will run to the battery terminal right there. And then we ran the other wire across here, drilled a hole in the front of the box, and it runs all along there. And I ran it along the inside of the car. From there it runs down along the sill here, and thankfully I built the little lip here for the wiring, so zip tied that to the other wiring harness running through here, so it runs along the front there. Then along here, and then up underneath the dash through an existing grommet that was there, which made it easy. And then from there comes up into the engine bay, snakes along here. And I've got it mostly figured out how I'm going to connect in the front. So the original wiring had this that connected to the battery, and then wiring ran out from each side here. One of the wires, one of the wires right here ran up to the fuse box, ran power to the fuse box there. And then it had these two wires here that powered everything else. So what I did, I cut the ends off of these two existing wires, and then took the wire that ran up to the fuse box and just made a new 6-gauge wire that connects there on the top, runs down, and then I ran it into just one connector there, and then the positive post here I'm going to mount, not sure where yet, somewhere here on the frame. Put some bolts and probably Riv Nut to the frame. And then my big wire, I'll put an end on this, and that'll connect on that as well. And then for the ground, let me see if I can find one. Here's my ground post. And that'll also get mounted, not sure, somewhere here on the frame. And then, pretty easy on this one, what I'll do is just cut the ends off the original connector here, and that'll connect to the junction box, and then this is just a ground wire that'll get ran up to the fender. So I wasn't sure how I was going to do it, but I think it's going to turn out okay. It's really not complicated, just kind of take one wire at a time. And so yeah, I'll get this done and show you how those posts look once I get those installed. Alright, I did forget to show you the ground wire back here. The wire right here, it runs down. I drilled a hole down in the bottom of the battery box and then down through the floor. Right here, and I'll be putting grommets on all the places where I've went through, because obviously we don't want that rubbing through. So grommets will get inside the box on the hole through the floor. So then I just ran it back here, and then to where the hitch bolts to the frame, I ground off the powder coating back behind there, so it's nice clean metal to bolt that to, and just bolted that tight there. So I think that'll work fine. It's away from, I might zip tie it up yet, but it's away from the exhaust and shouldn't be close to anything else, so that worked out pretty well. All right, I think we are ready for a test. So we got the junction block right here, all hooked up. I put 2 Riv Nuts in here and bolted that on. I ended up just running the ground wire directly, putting a Riv Nut into the frame and just bolting it directly to the frame. I do have a couple more wires that are going to be then running from the frame up to the body, and maybe another one as well. So, but for at least for now, this should work. All right, so we've got the battery hooked up, and so let's hit the switch and see if anything happens. Okay, no instant sparks or flames, which is a good thing. All right. Put some tools down here. Again. All right, let's see if it starts. Okay, here's stuff triggering. Hey, there we go. Awesome. That was very anticlimactic, which is exactly what we want. So nice. Call that a success. All right, so I just checked and made sure that the battery switch actually works, which it does. So I am happy with that. We've still got a few final things to do. I want to get some rubber covers that fit over here on each side. I still have to fabricate a battery hold down that runs over the battery and holds it down to the box, because obviously I don't want this battery sliding around. So a little bit to do there yet. And then I want to get a rubber cover for here as well. And then, like I mentioned, we have a couple more ground wires to hook up then. But yeah. Finally that works, so I don't have to get the jump pack out every time I want to start it, so that'll make it easier. Very nice, happy with that. So a couple things to finish up finally, but for the most part that wraps it up. Really not a difficult project, and this is going to be pretty close to the same if you're doing it with a Crown Vic. Obviously a few minor differences, but for the most part, yeah, that's pretty much it. So as always, thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. I'll see you in the next one.